Howdy YouTube and welcome to Subnautica. So I've had this game a couple of weeks and I've managed to get a few hours playing, 19 to be precise. It's one of them games that when you start playing you absolutely just lose track of all time. It's been out for quite a while. I think it came out late 2014 December. I'd have to check on Steam of when the game was actually launched. It's still very much in its early development phase. In the last month, I believe it's had some major updates compared to what was available beforehand. I think I got it just as the Habitat expansion came out for it, if you will, or the update. Where they allowed you to actually start building habitats and your own bases and expanded it massively from that. I'm not playing the experimental build. I am playing the actual main, stable release that's available. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead, we'll jump in. I'll let you just have a quick look at what's what, and then we'll go from there. Now, I am going to play on survival where I do need to have food and water, where I've got to maintain that. I know there's quite a lot of videos out there where people like to do it in freedom mode, just because it's less hassle. For myself, I prefer enjoying playing the whole scenario of the game. I do really enjoy this game. Like I say, I've got 19 hours in it so far. Even though it's in early development, I've not found myself frustrated with it. I am looking forward to seeing where they're going to go with it and the different ideas and the different suggestions that seem to be floating around. The development team seem to be very much ones for listening to their player base and things like that. So we'll go ahead and we'll go and start our survival game here shortly. It does give a deduction of why.
In the late 22nd century, humanity is beginning to colonize space. Before colony ships arrive, habitation vessels are appointed terraforming missions. The Aurora was one such vessel. During its descent, the Aurora was struck by a mysterious energy pulse, resulting in catastrophic hull failure. A single life pod jettisoned prior to impact. You were in that life pod.
Dun dun dun. And here we are in our life pod. So whenever you start a new game, you don't start anything in with your inventory. So what you do over here, you've got a bit of a storage area, and it actually gives you different items each time that you generate a new game. Actually, I've done quite well this time. I've managed to get a welder, which is used for repairing your base, your habitats, your vehicles and things like that. We've got some glass, an advanced wiring kit and a computer chip. And there's our Aurora. Not looking very good for herself. Okay, so we've managed to get a welder. What else did we got? We did get a computer chip, advanced wiring kit, glass. Okay, so our escape pod did get some damage, so we are just going to go ahead. We'll get that repaired. You can see it's at 50%, and you just right click on it and there we go. So she's repaired. There's not a lot of much you can do with your escape pod, to be honest. The main functionality of this escape pod literally is you've got a bit of storage and this fabricator, and everything that you make within the game all comes, you know, initially stems from the fabricator. So our next item is, because we want to be able to build a habitat and things like that, is we need to build ourselves a builder. Now it's split down into 4 sections at this time. Now whether they change this later on, the possibilities are completely endless for the developers of where they want to go with it. And I'll go from the bottom and I'll work my way up. So deployables is anything that you can deploy. Mobile vehicle bay, beacon, small storage cube, and gravisphere. Your personal is any items for yourself. We've got tools and equipment. Now, as you start getting new schematics and you start learning things, these do expand. For tools, we've managed to get a welder, builder, which is what we need to build straight off the bat as quick as possible. A flare, survival knife, which we do need to build. A flashlight. Personal equipment, we can make ourselves a thermometer. Some piping if we want to pump air down, rebreather, first aid kit, still suit, which allows you to generate water from your sweat, which is always really nice, radiation suit. Where we are currently, if we was to swim towards the Aurora, because the Aurora at the moment is leaking radiation, you can repair that later on. But if we was to go in that area now, we would actually suffer radiation poisoning, and it would kill us way before we even got anywhere close to her. You need to have a radiation suit to go anywhere near her. Fins, something that we need to get pretty quick. Oxygen tank, at the moment we've only got 45 seconds of oxygen. That'll allow us to actually expand our oxygen, or how long we can dive for. Again, that's quite an urgent one that we need to get straight off the bat. Substance, I'll come to that, as we actually do need to get some food and we do need to get some water. Resources are split at the moment. As you can tell, it gives you plenty of warning. So we've got our basic materials. Now this is the baseline of everything that you're going to be building in the game, is crafted from here. So plaster steel, enamel, lead, magnesium, bleach, glass, silicone, titanium ingot, titanium, and then electronics that we use for building. Now we've already managed to get a computer chip, so we were fortunate when we started. So we've already got a computer chip, so we can ignore that for our builder, but we do need to build some batteries, and for that we need some copper and acid mushrooms. So here we go. Welcome to Subnautica, or the ocean. The graphics are really spectacular. It is really beautiful, and it's very quick to get disorientated just by looking around. Okay, so here we go. That never gets old. Every time I see that happening, that really just so never gets old. They've done really well with that explosion. Okay, so our primary focus at the moment is we're down to 33% food, so we do need to sort food out. Our water's okay. We do need to start prepping ready for that. And we need to get our builder up and running. So we're just going to do a quick run around and gather some basic items. So quartz is one of them that you will pick up all the time. Oh, Gary fish. Yeah, and at the moment we've not air tanks, so we're going to run out of air really quick. Okay, so we've got Gary fish, so we do have some food. Everything that you build wise seems to take titanium. Now you can actually get titanium from two things: taking the scrap metal here and then processing it into titanium, and also by breaking limestone. Now limestone will give you two items, or a possibility of two items. Now the first item is copper, which is good, which we got, and the second is titanium. And of course it's going to give us the hint of we need to eat. So come here, Ursac. Okay. So we've now got another fish, an Ursac. Now I don't use Ursacs for eating. I actually use them to convert them to water. They're a great source of water. Especially in the early start of the game. Salt is not as easy to come by. Get some more cool fish. Okay, so that should be... There's enough fish there to get us going. The sun's going down slowly. Okay, so we're just going to grab a couple more quartz. We've got some titanium. We need some mushrooms, because that was the other item that we needed to make our battery. So I'm just going to pick 3 mushrooms, because I've only got 1 copper for a battery. And there we go, so we got titanium that time. To break the limestone, you can either do it with a knife, or you can do it if you've got no... I really need to get an oxygen tank. It's just left click on the item, same as you picking items, or as you can see, it's left click. The game is really good at telling you what you need to do in order to get certain items. Oh, some more metal. So I'm going to grab these because we will need loads of titanium and another quartz. Quartz is good. Quartz is actually, I've found, easier to find at night because they glow and you can see them from a great distance. So I tend to try and avoid going quartz hunting during the night, during the day. I try and go at night because they are a lot easier to find. Now I can't remember if items do respawn over a time, or whether you can actually completely deplete an area. I've not played long enough to the point of I've depleted an area where I've had to completely move everything. Now you can actually get oxygen by staying over them plants. So I'm just going to quickly, I'll grab another quartz. It's a bit of, oh, no I won't. Now, navigation within the game is very basic. There's no map. I don't know if they've got any plans in future releases to give you a map. It's once you get up and running and you know what's what, they're not procedurally generated. Everything is as is, no matter what seed that you generate from. So once you know roughly where things are, it's a lot easier to find. There are ways of... Still smoking here. It's never a good sign, is it? Once you get going, you can actually make beacons, and you can see the beacons from pretty much anywhere you are on the map. or anywhere you are in the game. So as long as you've got a beacon there, you know where you're at or where you're aiming for in distance. Okay, so it's telling us now that we do need to eat. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and cook us some fish. Now, when you do cook food, if you don't eat it straight away, it has a timer, a perish timer. Now, at the moment, as you can see, for me to eat this fish, I'll get 13 food, plus 13 food, plus 5 H2O. So we'll see our food go up and our water. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll get the other food cooked. It's not complicated to get going in this game, and I do like that. I like how the developers have kept it simple in the regards of they want you to mention in the game as far as building and as the buildings, and they're adding more buildings now. That's where your complication from the game comes in, and the creativity that you can do is a lot better. Now, as you can see, I use the herb ladders for water rather than for food. You don't get much food from them, but you get a lot better water from them. So we managed to get some scrap metal. We've got plenty of quartz. We do have some copper, and we do have some acid mushrooms. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and we'll create our battery, which takes 2 acid mushroom and 1 copper ore. I thought it was 3, so that may have changed in a recent update. So what I'll do is I'll just go and grab one more. Just keep it nice and simple, and we'll go ahead and create another battery. We'll go ahead and we'll break our titanium down, because we are going to need a lot of titanium. Because we'll go ahead and get our base started. And I'm going to just make some glass, which is basically 2 quartz makes glass. The quartz also makes silicon. Oh, and I'm out of power. Now, in the game, there are several power sources you can use. The main one is solar. Now, as our escape pod is actually on the surface, it will regenerate power from the sun slowly over time. A lot faster during the day than it is at night, and it's now going into day, so we should actually get some more power coming back through our systems. In your initial start of the game, this can be a little bit annoying, especially when you are trying to push of get things going. Later on, as you start building your base and you're expanding, I tend to find I don't have any issues with power. Once I've got my power relays in and things like that, it's a lot simpler. Okay, so we've got 2 glass, we've got 2 batteries, we've got 2 silicon, we've got our welder. Now, in order to make our builder, we needed our computer chip. Oh, we already had a glass, so that's good. I'll leave the advanced wiring kit there for the moment. So we'll go ahead and we'll make our builder. Now, your builder, in order to use your builder, it's got to be in your inventory. It doesn't go in your equip slot. It just stays in your inventory. So what I'm going to do is actually move my mouse cursor over builder 1 and press the 1 key, which will assign it to my 1 slot. And then I'll do the welder on number 2. Actually, no, I won't. I will do my builder on number 2, my welder on number 3, because I'm going to craft myself a knife shortly. So we've got some more power back. So what I'm going to do is tools and create myself a survival knife, which is just 1 titanium and 1 silicon. And as you can see, it's automatically put it in my slot 1 for me, so I've now got a knife. Another item that's very useful is our tanks, which allow us to stay underwater. Now I've only got 45 seconds of oxygen at the moment, so each tank will give me an extra 30 seconds. Now what I've found, and I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be, but even though it says 30 seconds of air, the deeper you go in water, it seems to go down a lot faster than 30 seconds. So let me just have a look. So I've got 1 silicon, I've got 2 quartz left. So I'm going to go ahead and make another silicon. And the reason is, just to help me in the water and swimming and things like that, I'm going to create myself a set of fins, which will actually increase my speed in the water. Now, your fins are an equipable item. So your fins, your bodysuit, your helmet, 2 auxiliary slots, and I can't remember what that one's for. Gloves, hands, if I remember rightly. Let's have a look. Equipment. I think it might be for your hands. At the moment, your hands are actually tied in with your bodysuit. So let's have a look. So we've got ourselves a builder. We've got a knife. We've got a spare battery. We do have some titanium. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and we'll get our base started. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to start my base close to the surface and then slowly build out and downwards in depth. So I'm just going to swim over a little bit, because I want to build away from the Aurora. I don't want to build to her. But on the same scope, I don't want to go too far away from my escape pod. And this looks like a good spot. So once you've selected your builder, if you press your right mouse button, all the items that you can actually build will be displayed here. Now, oh, we've had an upgrade. I don't remember that being there last time. So the last time I've played, it must have had an update, because I certainly don't remember that being in there. So that must be part of the CMOF upgrades that they're doing. Nice. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll go ahead and we'll get our room. Now I want to make sure that it's around, and it's quite simple to where you build. It will literally tell you green yes, red no. So what I want to do is, because I want it quite okay. So once you've clicked it, it starts, and then you just hold your left mouse button down whilst it's constructing. If you don't have the resource in order to finish the item, it will just stop and it'll tell you what's left to get. So in this case, we did have enough titanium. And there is the start of our base. So in order to get into it, we need to build an airlock. So we'll go ahead and we will select hatch. And that requires titanium glass. Now, as you can see, if I move my mouse over it, it tells you there it's 19% completed. It needs titanium and glass. All the titanium's in, so now the only thing left now is glass. So we'll go inside. Again, just left click to go in. Now, as you can see at the moment, we're not powered. There's no power in here. And this is the start of our base. So in order to create power at the moment, because we haven't learned any other schematics, is we need to create some solar panels. Now I need some quartz and titanium, so we are good on titanium, so we just need to see if we can find ourselves some quartz. And I'll grab some more metal because it's always handy. And while I'm here and I'm thinking about it, I'll grab some fish. Now, when you first start off, there's not really many aggressive creatures. Now, whether that changes as the game is developed further, there are aggressive creatures in the game. There isn't that many. There's more than when I first looked at it. Oh, now you're just doing it just to tease me. Come here. Come here. Okay. No, I just need some quartz. Oh, Gary fish, Gary fish. I'm wondering if the developers were very much into SpongeBob when they created that fish. Gary's the snail, I believe, in SpongeBob. My kids watch it. Not overly into watching it too much. Okay, so there's one quartz. So you can see during the day, they're not as easy to spot as what they are during the night. Titanium's always good. And we'll go ahead and get some of the limestone, some copper. As you start developing within the game, you'll learn what you're grabbing as you go along. There's another fish, another kind of fish, and we just need one more quartz. They are adding a lot more resources now going forward. They've done some changes recently. Oh, my inventory's full. Inventory's full. So let's go ahead and go back. We'll drop some items off. We'll drop some of the titanium off. No, we need quartz. We'll drop the copper off. We'll drop the glass off at this time. We've got some food, water. Sorry. So what I'm going to do is we'll go ahead and do the food. Same with the power. This is the only thing that's powered at the moment. So we'll do the food first. Hooper fish and our Gary fish, and we'll go ahead and convert our air bladders into water. Now, as I was saying with the food does perish. One thing that doesn't perish though is water. So once you've converted it, you can actually My phone going up. You can actually store and convert the water. So we'll go ahead and eat our fish, and we'll do our water. So we just need one more quartz, and we can get power to our base. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and we'll get the quartz. I'll finish this episode off here, and what I'll do in between the next recording is I'll just go out and get a few items, just because on these kind of builds the repetitive boring part of resource gathering is not always the most entertaining. Once you've seen a collection of items, it's always going to be the same. I just want to see if I can get one more quartz. We'll build the power and we will leave it there. Is that a quartz? Yes. Okay, so there's the Aurora. There's our escape pod. So our base should be just over here. Yes, there it is. You'll see as things go forward, we'll start putting beacons down just so we can find our way around a lot easier. So we'll select our builder and we will try and get our solar panel. So you just heard it there, it just clicked and you can actually, so there you go. So we've now got base power into our base, and you can see the little power strike. So doesn't show you cabling, but what it does, it symbolizes that, so you can see where the power is being routed to. And in we go. So each solar panel gives us 50 energy or 50 power, so that will slowly now recharge, and then once it reaches 50 it just stays at 50. Oxygen, within the base you don't have to provide piping down or anything. It just appears that while you're in here you will actually gain your oxygen back. I'll go ahead and leave you for now. Like I say, in between this and the next episode, we'll go out and just get some resources, and I'll stock them into the escape pod, just so we can get on with some of the building, the more pleasurable part for this. If you've got any ideas, please leave a comment of what we should build in the base and going forward. Any suggestions, please do leave us a comment, and don't forget to give us a like. I will do quite a few in the series for Subnautica as we're building it, so don't forget to subscribe and come back. Until then, I hope you enjoy. If you do get a chance to get the game, I would highly recommend it. It is a very enjoyable game. I've had loads of fun